What is it? 3.
So negative 5.
Negative 5.
7.
7.
Negative 7.
Negative 7. We okay? Everybody got those answers? All right. Here, what did you get doing them concretely?
3.
3.
Negative 5.
Negative 5.
7.
7.
Negative 7.
Negative 7. Did anybody notice this before I did this funny pause? Look at what? This is an important part of our lesson on integers. What do you notice about these left ones compared to these right ones? That's what I would ask the students. Yeah. The left one, they're all subtract. Yep. And these are all add. Anybody else notice anything else?
The answers are the same.
The answers are identical.
So there's 2 different ways to write the same.
The what?
There's 2 different ways to write the same answer.
2 different ways to write the same answer. Yeah, right.
The second number, you switch the sign. So the 4 over here is a positive.
What about the
it's
first
a
number?
negative.
No.
They're all the same.
First numbers are identical. The second
set
numbers
is
are
switched. Opposite.
opposites. Right? Everybody see that? In other words, subtracting is just like adding the opposite. Subtraction is just like adding the opposite. Subtraction is just like adding the opposite. Now, I think you need to do this step with students. In fact, I know you do. Don't forget this. Do it at the conclusion of your subtraction lessons. After they've done it concretely with all the other there was another one we left off of the list. Number lines, right? Number lines. After you've done all those concrete methods, they need to see this. And they need to come up with the conclusion, like I think most of you did, is that subtraction is nothing more than adding the opposite. Subtraction is nothing more than adding the opposite. To generalize it. Now, unfortunately, this is the only thing that some teachers teach. They say, here's how you subtract. And they start with this, and they end with this, and they don't do anything else. In fact, I remember my teacher, just make 2 marks. So, you just make 2 marks. If it says this, you go. If it says this, you go. You make 2 marks. Did your teacher teach you the 2 marks things?
Yes.
Just make 2 marks. I'm going, okay. I can make 2 marks. I didn't know why I was making 2 marks. Right? And that's all I knew to begin with. Well, I think our students deserve more than just memorize this, make 2 marks things. Doesn't make any sense. Just make 2 marks and you'll get the right answer. That is, if you can add integers properly, because that turns it to an add. So you do have to know how to add in order to do the subtracts this way. But I think they need to be exposed to the other methods. But I do think this is important because they should understand that subtraction is really adding the opposite. They should know that. Okay? Questions? Comments? complaints. So some of you are saying, I've got a curriculum to teach. I've got to plow through this stuff fast. So I'm going to forget about chips, I'm going to forget about Eli, I'm going to forget about number lines, I'm going to forget about mail time and hot and cold cube. I'm going to teach them the 2 marks and we're going to go on. What's going to happen to your students? The make 2 marks is not a sense-making thing. It's a trick, right? It works every time. But as soon as you start doing that for subtraction and move on to multiplication and teach them the tricks for multiplication and the tricks for division and so on. And by the way, we're assuming they know how to add. And if you just taught them how to add by, here's what you do. You give them the rules. If the 2 numbers are positive, you add the 2 numbers and make it positive. If the 2 numbers are negative, ignore the signs, add them as though they were positive numbers and put the negative sign back on. And so on. I mean, you've got the rules. We heard the rule, but if they make up the rule, they understand it. If you hand it to them, I'll promise you right now, over half your kids will forget it. They will not understand. They will not remember it. But if they can go back to concrete, they've got something that makes sense. Okay? Get to this, but save it to the end of your subtraction lesson. Enough of that. Pull out your fraction strips that you brought and model this 1/3 plus 1/4 with your partner. If